Hello there, hello everyone. So as always, I try to do these little videos just to give you like an overview of your quiz and I can also give you some examples so I can refresh your minds before this quiz. So first, let's go see our quiz. This is gonna be a quiz. It's kind of short. It only has 3 pages, but it's because I put a lot of space there so you can use it. If you need more space, you can always use another paper. So the first things first, you're going to write your name, the date, and your grade. The first part says solve each system by substitution, meaning that you're going to have two equations. You're going to use substitution to solve them. Then you're going to choose the best answer, circle it, and of course, you must show your procedure. That means all the process that you did to solve this one right there, you must show it, and everything, and so on with everything else. If do not see the procedure, I cannot give you points for this because definitely this is a type of exercise that you cannot do mentally. So you're gonna have in the first part, you're gonna have 6 exercises here, and you're gonna do them all by substitution. In the next part, again, you're gonna solve each system. And remember, system are just two linear equations that you can solve because they have two variables, the same two variables. And this time you're gonna do it by elimination. Again, once you show all your process, then you can choose your best answer. And you must show this procedure. I'm gonna be saying this a lot because sometimes I'm missing this. And of course, I always add a little bit of a bonus. And again, this is by elimination, but this one's a little bit more complicated. Not that much. Nothing that we haven't seen, right? And again, I must see the procedures for me to give you points for it. At the end, you have all the information that you need, important information, due date. This is for the last day is Monday, so I'm going to give you this for Friday. You're going to have until Monday to send me this quiz. If you have any questions, this is my email, and this is going to be the Google form. You can click it. It's hyped. It's going to take you to the Google form. So you can put your answers there and only your answers. At the end of that Google form, you can upload your PDF or pictures of your procedures. Those procedures must be made, I must be able to read them. So please be as clear as possible. At the end of the Google form, you must upload those procedures. The format acceptable is PDF or any type of image. That means that you can just use your cell phone, take a picture of your papers, and just upload them right there. If you have any trouble uploading anything to the Google form, remember that there is a video on my YouTube channel that can show you how to do that. Failure to show your work will automatically be grounds for failure of that exercise and therefore the rest of the test. So again, if I don't see that procedure, I cannot give you points for that specific exercise. So if you do that with every single exercise, I cannot give you points for that. Now let's go to the examples. Again, this is going to be your quiz. Um, and you can see that at the end, this is the one that I can edit. At the end of this, it says upload your work. If you're going to find any trouble with the Google form, please send it to my email. Of course, you have that option. But I really, 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 really preferred that you can upload it here. You have up to 5 files to upload to up to 10 megabytes to upload. That means that you can upload up to 5 pictures Or you can also just make it everything just one file as a PDF and just upload it. So let's do some exercises. Let's do some examples. I'm going to start very easy. I'm going to do a few exercises of each part. One easy, one medium, and one just with a little bit more, not complicated, but just with a little bit more. Nothing that we haven't seen, right? So the first part says solve each system by substitution. So I'm going to do an example around here. Let me see if I can write it. Y equals 2x. That will be one of those, that will be one of the equations. The next equation will be y equals x plus 5. Say, Missy, that's so easy. I know it's easy. But let's start slow. So you have two equations right here. That is a system of equation. They have two variables. And I'm going to do this by substitution. Meaning substitution, if y equals all of this, then I can substitute this y with what that means right there. So I can rewrite my equation as 2x equals, and I'm going to do this in another color so you can see where everything comes from, right? This is coming from the first equation, equals x plus 5. That comes from the second equation. Now I have one equation that has only one variable, and I know how to do this, right? I have been doing this since we started this school year. So first things first, I want to put all my x's on one side and leave my constants on the other one. So for me to take that x and take it to the other side, all I have to do is subtract add x on that side. And again, if I do that on one side, I have to do it on the other one. This is going to get canceled because x minus x is 0. And 2x minus x, if I have two x's, I take away 1. I am left with just 1x. So in my left side, I have just the x. And on my right side, I'm left with the 5. So x equals 5. Now the question here is, did I finish? No, I did not. I already found x, but I haven't found what y is. So I'm just going to take any equation at all from the original ones. For example, I can take y equals 2x, and then I'm going to substitute what I got from that x, that is right here. I'm going to substitute it right here. So I'm going to have y equals 2, and I'm going to substitute that x by 5, because I already found out what x is. And then I'm going to solve y equals 10. Now that I know what y is, what x is, and what y is, I can also put this as a solution, right? My solution, remember this is like x and y. When I plot it in my coordinate plane, I can plot it like that. So x in this case is 5, and y is 10. Oh, that was an ugly 10. Sorry. There we go. That's a prettier one. And that will be my answer. This is the format of the answer that I'm putting in that quiz. Because this is my x, this is my y. Let's do another. Let's say that I have a system of equations. And the first one is x plus 4y, and that is a 4, I'm sorry, that is a 4. 4y equals 6. And I have my second equation is going to be x plus y equals 3. Now this one is a little bit different because I have nothing that's saying that y equals something or x equals something. Like in this one, you see that they both equal something. So I can just put them together. In this one, I don't. So I have to solve for one of the variables. And I can choose whichever I want to solve for. I'm just going to take the first one. And I'm going to solve it. X plus 4 y equals 6. And I'm going to try to solve for x. So I'm going to take that 4y and I take it to the other side. Minus 4y on this side. Again, this is going to be 0, so it's going to cancel. Minus 4y on this other side. And you're going to say, Miss, why do you put it so offset? Well, that is because they're different terms. And you know that I cannot add or nor subtract terms that are different. So that's going to be like that. That's going to be just 6 minus 4y. And that is the same thing as negative 4y plus 6, just in case. And in the other side, I'm just going to have my x. So I'm going to, at the end of the day, I'm going to have x equals 6 minus 4y. Now I have solved for that. And I can just take, and I'm going to try to highlight this. Now, if this is y, if all of that equals y, I can substitute it here in my second equation. So I can substitute everything that I have here, because that is what x means, right? I can substitute it with my other x. So I can now say that this new equation that I'm creating can be, and I'm sorry here, it's looking for, there we go. It's going to be 6 minus 4y. Again, that is what x is. And do another color so you can see the original. Plus y equals 3. Now I do have equal terms here. It's negative 4y plus y. How much is negative 4y plus y? Well, they are different signs, so I have to subtract them. And this is going to be, and then the bigger one is going to stay with the sign. So this is going to be negative 3y. This is going to take the 6. I'm going to put it down, and everything else is going to go down. Now I want to leave that x all by itself, and this is something that you have done numerous of times. So I can take that 6 and send it to the other side. So I'm going to subtract it here. This is going to be 0. I'm going to be left in my left side with a negative 3y. And in my right side, I'm going to have 3 minus 6. How much is 3 minus 6? Negative 3. Now again, my y is not by itself, but I can divide, right? Can divide by negative 3 on that side. And negative 3 over negative 3 is 1, and 1 times y is y. And again, on the other side, negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. Remember that 1 is negative, divided by a negative number is a positive number. And there we go. Now I know what y is. Did I finish? Of course not. I haven't found my y just yet. So I'm just going to take any of the original equations and I'm going to substitute that y for. I'm just going to take the first one, right? So the first one says x plus 4y equals 6. And then if my y is 1 times 1 equals 6, all I did there was substitute it. Do this in another color so you can see it. And again, this is just going to be this because 4 times 1 is 4. Now I want to take away that 4 from there. I'm going to send it to the other side. So all I'm going to do is subtract 4 here and subtract 4 there. 4 minus 4 is 0. I canceled it on my left side. And I just was left with x. And in my right side, I have 6 minus 4. And how much is 6 minus 4? 2. Very good. And now I know what my x is. And again, you could have substituted this with the other equation. It didn't really matter. Now, the format that I'm gonna write my answer here is as a dot, like in the way that it would be in my coordinate plane. And my x here is 2, so I'm gonna put 2. And my y is 1. And that will be my answer. Let's just do one more exercise about substitution before we get to elimination, okay? So let's say that I have another one, and this one is 4. This one is 4y minus 5x equals 9. And my second equation is x minus 4y equals 11. Now, again, I don't have something that equals something. Like I don't have a variable. For example, I don't know what x is. I don't know what y is. So the first thing that I should do is try to take one of those equations and solve for one of those variables. I'm going to take the second one just because it looks a little bit simpler, but you can choose whichever. So I'm going to solve for one equation using the second equation. And I'm going to solve it for x. You can solve it for y too, but I want to solve it for x. So all I have to do here is add 4y, so I can cancel those two. And negative 4y plus 4y is 0. And add it to the other side, right? Because if I add something on one side, I have to add it to the other one to keep that balance in my equation. And I do this again in a little bit of an offset because there are different terms. And this is going to be 11 plus 4y. And I'm going to have my x there. So at the end of the day, everything's going to be x equals 11 plus 4y. I can also write this as x equals 4y plus 11. It doesn't really matter, okay? Now that I have what that is, I have what x is, I can now substitute, right? I know that this is going to be x. And remember that I used my second equation to do this, so I have to substitute it in my first equation. So I have to substitute it with this x right there. So in my first equation, I have, oh, sorry, I stuck with the highlighter. Let me take the other one. There we go. So in my first equation, that's 4y minus 5. And what is x? X, I'm going to just put it in parentheses, and everything that is equals to x, I'm going to put there. 4y plus 11. That is the same as x, right? Equals 9, part of that equation. Now I can solve. I'll do here like a little box, so this we don't get confused. Where everything came from, right? So now I can use the distributive property to solve for that parentheses. I can take that 5 and multiply it by 4y, take that 5 and multiply it by 11. So I'm going to have my 4y, that's going to stay the same. And remember that I take the negative 5 all together. Negative 5 times 4, that's going to be negative 20. And the y, we cannot forget that y. And negative 5 times 11 is going to be negative 55. I'm going to put everything back where it was. Now I do have equal terms. Terms that are alike. Sorry, alike. That's why we call them like terms. That means I can add them and subtract them. And how much is 4y minus 20y? That's going to be negative 16y. And everything else I'm just going to put where it's supposed to be. Minus 55 and equal 9. I know I have a lot of colors there, but that is just for you to like see where everything came from. Now that 55 I want to get rid of. I want to send it to the other side. So I'm going to add 55 here. And if I add 55 on one side, I have to add 55 on the other one. I'm sorry, that's a little bit offset, but I didn't have too much space. So negative 55 plus 55 is going to be 0, so that's going to get canceled. And positive 9 plus 55 is going to be 64. And at the end of the day, here I'm going to have negative 16y equals 64. And now I want to leave that y all by itself. So I am going to divide on both sides by negative 16. This is going to get canceled. And how much is 64 divided by negative 16? Negative 4. Did I finish? No, I know it looks a little bit like a mess, but it's because this one's a little bit longer. Try to do this in another color. Again, I can choose now any equations from the original to solve this. I'm going to take the second one. Why? So for example, I have here my second one, x minus 4y equals 11. And I already know that how much is y? Negative 4, right? So I can substitute here that y by negative 4. And how much is negative 4 times negative 4? Gonna be positive, right? It's gonna be positive 16 equals 11. Now I want to take rid of that 16, so I'm gonna add, I'm gonna subtract 16 on both sides. Gonna be 0. And in my left side, I'm gonna be left with x. And how much is 11 minus 16? Negative 5. And again, the way that I'm gonna show my answer is in that coordinate way with x and y, with that plot right there. And what is my x? My x is negative 5. And what is my y? My y is negative 4. X and y, just in case. Guys, if you have questions, please feel free to contact me through WhatsApp during the quiz dates. That means Friday or Monday. Now let's go to the second part. And the second part is by elimination. I have a few exercises around here so we can practice them. So for example, let's start easy here. I have two equations. I have x minus 2y equals negative 19. And my second equation is going to be 5x plus 2y equals 1. That is going to be my system. Now I'm going to look for something. I'm going to look for variables that are alike and that I can try to cancel them. And for example, I have like terms that are x's, but I cannot cancel them. If I subtract or add them, if I add them, it's going to give me 6x. If I subtract them, it's going to give me 4x. So that means I cannot cancel them. But here I have negative 2y plus y. That's naturally it's going to cancel itself. If I add them up, it's going to cancel themselves. So I'm going to use this one. And because they are opposites, they're going to cancel. And therefore, I'm just going to add those two equations. And x plus 5x is 6x. And negative 2y plus 2y is going to be 0. So that's going to get canceled. It's going to be 0. I put my equal sign right there. And what do I have on the equal side on my right side, sorry. I have negative 19 plus 1. It's going to be negative 18. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to regroup everything that I have there. I have 6x equals negative 18. Now I want to solve for my x. I want to leave it all by itself. So I'm going to have to divide. I'm going to have to divide by 6 on both sides. And 6 divided by 6 is 1. And times x is x. And negative 18 divided by 6 is going to be negative 3. So I found out what x is, but I haven't found out what y is. And for that, I'm going to need an original equation. Any which one, just the original one. And in this case, I'm going to take the first one. This is x minus 2y equals negative 19. And now I know that x equals negative 3. Right? It was negative 3, sorry. Minus 2y equals negative 19. I just put everything else back where it was supposed to. Try to do this in green so you can see where it came from. There we go. Now I want to take away that 3 and send it to the other side. So I have to add 3 here. That's going to give me 0, so I'm going to add 3 there. And 19 plus 3 is going to be negative 16. What do I have left? Well, in my left side, I'm going to be left with negative. This is going to cancel, right? It's going to be negative 2y equals negative 16 on my right side. How can I get rid of that 2? Well, it's being multiplied by that y, so I'm going to divide it. Right? I'm going to have to divide to get rid of that 2. So I'm going to divide by negative 2, and if I do this on one side, I have to do it on the other one. On my left side, I'm going to be left with y. And on my right side, I'm going to have negative 16 divided by negative 2, and they're both negative. So if I am multiplying or dividing by two negative numbers, that means that my answer is going to be a positive number. So negative 16 divided by negative 2 is going to be positive 8. Now I know what my x is, I know what my y is. So my answer is x and y. What is going to be? Well, now my x is negative 3 and my y is 8. That's going to be my answer. Let's do one more. Well, let's do another. Let's see what is going to be my next system. So let's say that I have 3x plus 4y equals 18. And again, we're doing this by elimination. And my second equation is negative 2x plus 4, sorry, that's exactly 4y equals 8. Now, I do have a little bit of a problem here. I can see right away that I have two terms that I may be able to eliminate, but as if I add them up right now, I'm just gonna have 4y's plus 4y is gonna be 8y's. I'm gonna be able to cancel it. So what we do, we have a little trick here. I'm just gonna subtract everything. Just gonna subtract everything. And remember that when we subtract everything, I can rewrite that one. Right? I'm gonna rewrite it here. Again, you know that this is like the little symbol I do. Doesn't really mean anything, but just mean that I'm rewriting it. So I'm gonna have negative, I don't know if you see the negative right there, times, I'm gonna change everything that's inside that parentheses. So it's gonna multiply everything by negative, like by -1. So now it's gonna change. So again, I'm gonna have -1 times -2x is gonna be 2x. It's gonna be positive. And again, I can change now my second one, negative times positive 4y is gonna be negative 4y. And -1 times 8 is gonna be -8. And I'm just gonna write the first equation just as it is. In that one, I'm not doing any changes to it. Now it's easier for me to cancel them. I don't know if you can see, but now you have opposite terms. In opposite terms, I can actually subtract them. That I can eliminate it, sorry. So I can add those two equations. 3x plus 2x is going to be 5x. Now I have 4y minus 4y is going to be 0, so that's going to get canceled. I have my equal sign going to stay there. And I have 18 minus, right, minus 8, or 18 plus -8. It's going to be 10. And I'm going to be left with 5x equals 10 that I can actually solve. I can divide by 5 on both sides to leave that x all by itself. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. So I found what my x is. Now I haven't finished because I don't know what y is. I'm just going to take any of the original equations and substitute one my variable, my x variable. So I'm going to take the first one. It says 3x plus 4y equals 18. And how much was x? 2, right? Okay, cancel, wait. There we go. So I can insert that 2 right there. And 3 times 2 is 6. 6. Sorry about that. My goodness, sorry about that. Somebody's playing on um on my account. Bloopers. Sorry about that. And I can put everything else back where it was. Now I want to take that 6 and send it to the other side. So I'm just going to subtract 6 on both sides. This is going to be 0. And I'm going to be left with 4y equals. How much is 18 minus 16? Sorry, 18 minus 6. It's going to be 12. And again, I want to take away that 4 so I can divide by 4 on both sides. And I'm going to be left with y equals, how much is 12 divided by 4? 3. And again, the format is x and y. My x was 2. And my y is 3. And that's how I will write it down. Now let's do just one more equation. And this one's a little bit trickier. Has a lot more steps to it. Is one of that you may see in the bonus. Something like this you may see in the bonus part. Now I'm gonna show you a little trick to make it even shorter. So for example, let's say that you have this set, right? This system of equation. 7x minus 12y equals negative 22. And my other equation is going to be 5x minus 8y equals negative 14. And they're telling us to use elimination. Now, this is going to be a little bit trickier because I cannot cancel anything right now, right? If I add 7x and 5x, I'm just gonna have even a bigger x, and the same thing with my y's. So I have to think about a number that I can multiply the entire equation for, so I can try to cancel some of those variables. So in this example specifically, I'm gonna focus on canceling the y's. So what number do you think that I can multiply that 12y and that 8y so I can cancel them? Well, I know that if I multiply that 12 by 2, I can make it a 24. And if I multiply that 8 by 3, I can have a 24. Therefore, I can cancel them. But not just anything, right? I have to cancel it by a negative number too here. But I'm going to go piece by piece, don't worry. So I'm going to have to multiply them. This one I'm going to multiply by 2. And this one I'm going to multiply by 3. And my resulting equation is going to be 2 times 7x. How much is 2 times 7x? 14x. And 2 times negative 12y. It's going to be negative 24y. And how much is 2 times negative 22? It's going to be equal to negative 44. And using the same colors, you will see which equation is which. And again, here we have 3 times 5x. How much is 3 times 5x? It's going to be 15x. The same thing here, 3 times negative 8y. It's going to be negative 24y. And 3 times negative 14, it's going to be negative 42. So we're just going to box them in so you will see, so I can like divide them a little bit. Now I still have a problem here. They are the same terms, are exactly the same, they're equal. So if I were to add them or subtract them, if I were to add them, it's just going to give me a bigger negative number. But so I have to subtract them, right? I'm going to do this in another color. If I subtract them, that means I have to change the sign of everything that I have in that equation. And I'm going to do like a little box here so I can also divide it. The first one, I'm going to leave it as is. 14x minus 24 y equals negative 44. But the second one, I'm going to change the signs. I'm going to make them in green because now they're changing, right? Remember that there's like a little one there that we normally do not write because we're just changing the signs. So negative 1 times 15x is going to be negative 15x. And negative times negative 24, y is going to be positive 24y. Now that I can actually cancel, equal. And I have to change now the sign of my 42. If I have negative 42, now it's going to be positive 42. Now that equation I can actually add. You see that now I can actually cancel those two. And I'm going to go right away and cancel it because I already know that that's going to get canceled. Negative 24 plus 24 is 0. How about 14x plus negative 15x, or 14x minus 15x is going to be negative x. And negative 44 plus 42, negative 2. So I'm going to have negative x equals negative 2. Now, I don't want to know what negative x is. I want to know what x is. So I have to make that x positive. So I already showed you that I can just multiply by negative on one side and on the other one. And remember that what I do on one side, I have to do it on the other one so I can maintain that balance. So negative 1 times negative x is just going to be x. And negative 2 times negative 1 is just going to be 2. And that is my x. Now I know that I have done so much things already on this equation, but I haven't finished. I don't know what my y is. So I'm just going to look for one of the original formulas, one of the original equations, sorry. And I'm going to substitute it. I'm going to look here for another color. Okay. So let's say that I'm going to take the first one, just to take one. It says 7x minus 12y equals negative 22. Now I know what x is, so I can substitute it. Substitute right there. It's going to be 2. And 7 times 2 is 14. And everything else is going to stick the same, right? Now I want to take that 14 and send it to the other side. So I'm just going to subtract 14 on both sides. This is going to be 0. Starting to get a little bit without space. I'm gonna be left with negative 12y equals how much is 22, sorry, negative 22 minus 14 is gonna be negative 36. Now I'm gonna do this in another space because it's getting a little bit tight. I'm gonna rewrite it right here, okay? Sorry for that. I'm gonna do here a little bit of a sign so you will know that I'm just continuing on the other side because I was a little bit tight of space. Now I haven't finished, I don't know what y is. So I have to leave it all by itself. So I'm just gonna divide by negative 12 on both sides. Here's gonna get canceled. It's gonna be 1, right? And I'm gonna be left with y on my left side. And negative 32 divided by negative 12 is gonna be 3. And now I know what x is, I know what y is. X and y. I know that x is 2, and I know that y is 3. And that's gonna be my answer. And that's it. Those are the 3 exercises I wanted to show you. They're all different variations of difficulty. The first one is a little bit simpler. The middle one is just a little bit different. And the second and the third one is just a little bit more complicated. Um, I wish you all the best of luck. I'm going to show you again your quiz. Wish you all the best of luck. And again, please remember that if you have any doubts or questions, please feel free to contact me through WhatsApp, whether it is on Friday or Monday, I'll be there. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Bye.